Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Hey guys, welcome back to FFC. This is Maureen.
I'm Eve.
and I'm Jeanette.
And we are back with another episode for you. We are talking. Now, this has been long awaited. We all watched this as soon as it came out. You're so not invited to my bat mitzvah. Very good. And we're also going to be reviewing Old Dads today. These are both Netflix movies that came out this year. Old Dads, I think, came out last month.
Yeah, it's been recent.
I feel like
It stayed not coming out at all.
yeah, true. I think bat mitzvah, it came out in like September, right? September, August, somewhere in there.
September, October.
Been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit, but it's really good. And we've been waiting to talk about this because we all loved it. But we want to remind you that next week on Christmas Eve, you're going to get our streaming holiday movies that we reviewed, one that's on Peacock and one that's on Netflix. And following that, our last one of this year is going to come out on New Year's Eve. That'll be your One Tree Hill review of season 7 and season 8. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start with Old Dads.
Go.
Now, I need it to be said that Jeanette did not watch this because partly
Sorry.
because Eve and I gave our opinions before she got a chance to watch it. Now, the synopsis for Old Dads. This
Mark it
is
right
not
on the list.
this is not what IMDb says. This is what I decided to say about it. It follows 3 dads, old friends who are having babies much later in life. About their struggles with the relationships with their spouses or a prospective partner, and fatherhood, and the general world around them. You've got Bill Burr, who I was right. That's who that is, Bill Burr, the redheaded guy who swears a lot.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
It should be said that if you have kids, this is not a kid or family friendly movie. And
And I warned you too. I was like, oh no, if Maureen has not seen this yet, she needs to know that this is not for children, at all.
at all. I love Bill Burr. I think he's hilarious, but I like a toned down version of Bill Burr. This is him in his natural habitat because Bill Burr wrote this, he directed this, and he starred in it.
Oh.
And Jenna, have you ever seen New Girl?
Yeah.
Do you know Nick's cousin who wants him to get pregnant he wants him to impregnate his wife?
Oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while.
He's bald, but he's got like a red beard.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
talks
so
very
that's
Jersey. That's Bill Burr.
Okay.
And so he always plays it because that's who he is naturally. He's got a very foul mouth, but he's usually talks nice stuff. But this, I don't like the crude. And it said, I should have known, it said nudity, but I thought maybe it's just like a shirtless scene or something, and I can fast forward it. But no, it was them in a strip club, and there was a lot of nudity, and I was like, oh. No, it was not good. I was not. And Bobby Cannavale is in it. He plays Connor. And then look up his last name, Bokeem.
The main, the one with the dark hair, he was in The Watcher. Because I thought this would be good because I like him or whatever. But I'm glad I didn't.
I like the concept. I think the concept is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Sounds like it's just one of those that was just vulgar for shock value.
Yes.
And, I don't
yeah,
care for
that was my big issue. Was I'm okay with vulgarity. That's fine. When it's called for, but it was just vulgarity for the sake of being vulgar, and I was like, this is just
Yeah,
it wasn't great. And the other person who's in it, the main character, obviously there's other characters, but the main man who is in it is Bokeem Woodbine, and he looked familiar to me, but I don't know why he looked familiar. But I mean, it just, there's they call people the C word in there. Oh, he's in Chicago PD. That's why he looks familiar. He plays Derek Keys. He's a drug lord in Chicago PD.
Oh.
He plays Derek Keys. So weird that I didn't even notice he was in one of our other shows, but surprise, he's in one of our other shows. However, I think that what I expected from this was, yes, because it's Bill Burr, I expected there to be language. That's just who he is. I can't even watch his comedy specials because he's every other word is the F word or the C word, and it's very, very loud about that stuff. And it had potential to be good based off of the subject, but I think that it was, like you said, just vulgar for vulgarity's sake. There was no reason to have all the nudity in that strip club. It was just, I fast forwarded through the whole thing. I felt very uncomfortable watching it. It was a very slow build. There were things that didn't make sense to it. I don't know, Eve, what else can you say about it?
I don't know. I was thinking that I don't even know how to put this, but it just didn't seem to the pieces didn't seem to fit together. It was like these things were happening, but there really wasn't a flow from like between different things. It's almost like it was one really long episode of a TV show.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, different things happening all at once, and then like nothing seems to fit together. Like there was the whole thing with like their company and
Mm-hmm.
the thing with the principal and like the kid. I was like, I don't understand how any of this fits together. Like if you stuck with maybe one or two of the
Mm-hmm.
minor little plot points that were happening, it could have worked, but I didn't see how any of it fit together.
I agree. I think that's a perfect way to describe it. Absolutely. And I think so. My favorites about it are that the idea of this was good. Old dads having kids later in life, how they're affected by the world around them and their relationships and with their kids. I like that idea. I think that's a great concept.
Yeah.
But my complaints would be basically exactly what you said. And it was just like the guy who played
the language was just so gross. Like I'm okay with language, but I'm telling you, the C word just does not. It's like the one thing. Like I can listen to the F-bomb being dropped, the B word, all of that I'm fine with. But something about the C word just boils my blood. Like I don't know. Like I can't handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, most of the time it's the one word that I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying I'm never okay with it, but usually,
yeah.
it calls for a very serious situation with that one. Like otherwise, like no, like gross.
And it felt like the relationships were very, on top of that, it felt like the one relationship was the woman is incredibly overbearing and has the guy whipped. The other relationship is a girl who says, I don't want kids, but ends up pregnant. And the other relationship is a woman who marries Bill Burr and then is mad that he is the same guy that she married and kicks him out of the house.
I did not understand that at all. I was like, lady, did you understand that this is who he was when he got married? He doesn't seem to be hiding.
No.
Even trying to hide that this is who he is. And now all of a sudden at the end of the movie, she's like, oh, I can't take it anymore. It's like, well, where were you at the beginning of the movie when he was cursing out the principal?
Yes. And she even said that their second date, he cussed out an entire row of people in the movie theater. And that's what made her fall in love with him. Like,
it's like, really? Because you don't seem to be that excited about it now that you're talking about it.
exactly. And I don't know. It was just,
I think the person who's really changed this relationship is you.
Exactly. And the way that Bill Burr cried when he missed the birth of his second kid, like I don't know. It was really sad to me that she was separating him from his kids, and that just upset me because it's like there's a certain view of this younger generation that they're just crap human beings. They're all garbage. None of them really know what's going on, and it's just I don't know. I just did not enjoy it at all.
It didn't make any sense because
No.
like he comes in, he's like, oh, I missed it, and she's like, do you want to come meet your daughter? And now everything's fine. I'm like, I don't understand. Like how you were pissed at him for, I don't even remember like what. I don't even know what you were mad at him for. And now all is forgiven because you just gave birth and he wasn't here.
Exactly. Yeah. It's messed up. So what great, I don't want to, I think that's all we can say about this because it's all negative.
I don't even know if we can even talk about it anymore.
No. What grade would you give it?
You know, I'm gonna give it some points for the overall concept because that was interesting. I'm gonna go solid D just for the concept. Everything else was bad.
I think because I can never watch this again, I can't watch it with my kids. And granted, like I said, Bill Burr does not hide who he is. He's got a vulgar mouth. So I mean, that was something I knew, but because of the nudity, and again, it is warned in the beginning of the show, and I should have read it a little closer. I'm going to have to give it an F because I will never look at this thing again, ever.
I never would have watched it. Like I watched it.
Had we not told you to?
While I was watching it, I think I even said like out loud to myself, I said, if Maureen does not watch this and suffer through this like I did, I cannot be friends with her anymore. Like this is what's going to end our friendship if she does not have to suffer through this like I did.
Yeah, I did. And it was my idea to put it on here too, by the way, because it was new. And I was like,
I was asking Jeanette and Amanda that in a different chat. And I was like, who put this? Because I didn't want to say anything to you because I was like, I cannot like hint at her that she shouldn't watch it because you had to. So I was like, who put this movie on the list? Because it can't possibly have been Maureen, because this is not her type of thing at
It
all.
looked funny though. I mean, I will admit, I watched the preview and I would have watched it had I like had time and you all had got to it before me. So
That's
I
what
think there was one night me and David actually, I was like, oh, we should. It was like an option, but we chose something else. So like, I'm glad we chose something else. Like,
yeah, because the previews look good. Bill Burr is generally, I think he's funny. He's got a potty mouth, but I think he's funny.
yeah.
It was very, I don't know, it was very dark and slow moving. And I just, no, don't want, I mean, watch it if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody at all. So certainly, so on that note,
I don't think anything we've ever reviewed has gotten a grade this bad.
just one thing.
I don't even think that. I mean, by the sounds of it, like the Teen Wolf movie's not even as bad as this. So I don't think.
I mean, from a cinematic perspective, it's worse. From a content perspective, it's better.
I was gonna say because I don't think we gave it an F.
I think I did.
Did you? I don't think I did, but
I don't remember what I gave it. I think I just prefer to forget that movie ever existed.
maybe that's it.
But I would choose the Teen Wolf movie over this any day of the week.
Oh yeah, if you gave me these two movies and said you have to pick one,
Teen
I'm
Wolf,
going
please.
to.
I mean, at least the Teen Wolf movie had nostalgia for us, right?
Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
I just watched Teen Wolf, the series, the year that the movie came out. So I mean,
Yeah.
not a whole lot of nostalgia for me, but but I will beg to watch it over Old Dads for sure. So we're going to move on to one that we actually did enjoy, also on Netflix, called You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. This is an Adam Sandler movie, and I love that he's in it with two of his daughters and his wife, but his wife doesn't play his wife, which is I always think is funny. But I didn't pull this from IMDb, but I got this synopsis from my own head. It's the struggle of new teens to fit in, walk the line of popularity, all while planning the first of the most important day of their lives, which is their bat mitzvahs, which happens when they're what, 13, Eve?
It's complicated. In Orthodox Judaism, it's 13 for boys, 12 for girls, but in all the other branches, it's 13 for girls and boys.
What are they in this movie?
I would say this was a very, very good portrayal of Reform Judaism, which is the branch that I'm a part of.
Okay. Well, Eve, why don't you take the lead on this one and introduce some of the characters and your favorites and complaints and stuff?
Okay, so first of all, I love that his girls were in it and they played his daughters. Because something I noticed, obviously, they're his daughters, but when I was watching it, I didn't see a lot of acting going on between Adam Sandler and his girls. And by that, I mean, I don't feel like they were acting. I feel like this is how
natural.
It was very natural. Like they were like, okay, guys, just go ahead and do something that you usually do with your kid at home. Because that's really what it felt like to me. It was very natural, the way that he interacted with, his daughters. His oldest daughter, I wonder if that's actually how she is in real life, because she was a bit interesting. I was like, she's a bit over dramatic, but
I did like this. His younger daughter was super dramatic. The scene where he bought her pads and he FaceTimed her while she was in the car with her friend, talking about the size pads that she might need. And then he left them on her bed. The older sister said something like, "Dad left some diapers on your bed," or something like that.
What I found really interesting though is that he did a lot of stuff in that movie in front of the younger one that, well, I wasn't easily embarrassed by my parents growing up, but if it was my sister growing up, she would have been mortified. Like, I'm never talking to you again. But I feel like she seemed to roll with the punches a lot when it came to ridiculous stuff that her dad was doing.
The older sister?
No, the younger one.
I feel like she was super dramatic. What am I thinking here?
No, she was super dramatic, but there were things that were like when they were at the movie theater and he showed up in front of all those kids from school and he was in his pajamas.
Oh yeah.
I was like, if it was like my sister growing up, she would have been like, oh my God, Dad, like, go away. But she was just like, okay, my dad's here, it's fine, like, whatever.
Maybe
and I think
it depends on who your dad is. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got a dad who's like Adam Sandler, which I think his character, he was portraying a lot of like who he is, I think. There's just not a lot that because Elena gets a lot more embarrassed by things that I do, because like if I do something than her dad, because David will just do weird stuff sometimes, and so it just doesn't affect her the same like when he does weird stuff, because that's just dad. I don't know. So maybe it's like that.
Yeah, because I feel like I've had to go to my daughter's school a lot. We're decorating their school campuses, and I've made a point to seek her out in the middle of all of her friends and at lunch and at recess and in the halls and be very loud. And she does not like that. She at one point said, "Why do you hate me so much? Why are you here again?"
Elena would freak.
I love you.
I yelled that really loud as I was squeezing her. I was like, "I love you so much. I miss you." She's like, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet?"
Like, this is my job as the mom of a teenager.
But when exactly, and when my husband showed up there one day with me, he wasn't loud like I was. I mean, it was embarrassing for her, but it wasn't like he was just being him. I was not being me. Like I was intentionally trying to. And I feel like you're right. I feel like Adam Sandler plays who he is always. He's very authentic to who he is, especially when he plays a dad, especially with his own kids.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite things about the movie?
So that, well, definitely the not acting between him and his daughter. But I am going to preface this by saying that the Jewish community, as per usual, was very split on thoughts regarding the movie. There were
really?
There were a lot of people who were like, this is not an accurate depiction of, Judaism, and this is going to make people look down on us. And then there were people like me who was like, no, this was pretty darn accurate of a lot of bat mitzvahs.
Well, I was
growing up.
The fact that he is Jewish and this is him and his kids, I mean, it's obviously like
the problem
relevant to him. You know what I mean? Like, so I think
the problem is that the Jewish community that is seen the most, that has like the most, is the Orthodox Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I completely agree. This is not how bar and bat mitzvahs are done in the Orthodox community whatsoever. So I think a lot of people were just like, well, I follow all of these Orthodox content creators, and I know this is not how it's done. And then you have people from, the Reform and the conservative community who are like, no, this is what, it's like. So that all being said, it was so nostalgic. I was like, oh my gosh, everything about this movie. I was like the being a teenager stuff, that can go. Without we know that that's how it is, but him being in Hebrew school and, her studying for her Torah portion and, being so excited about the party and her parents being like, whoa, back it up. Like, this is the important part. And I did love Adam Sandler's part where he said, what the theme of my bar mitzvah was? Being Jewish. We shared a matzo ball in my mom's basement. And I have watched this movie twice. I watched it once by myself. I watched it a second time with my parents. And they were hysterical because there are so many things in this movie that was so stereotypically Jewish. My mom was like, I can't take this movie. This is so funny.
That's fun.
And I like too that they make, because I think it's a lot of times we can, if we're not Jewish, we can separate ourselves a lot from that. Be like, oh, well, that's just a Jewish thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But they did show that, I mean, all these kids, they're young. They just want to fit in. They want to be normal.
Yeah.
They want to have the cool thing. They want to do these cool things. Like that scene when they're on top of the hill on top of the rock wall, whatever, and jumping into the quarry. She just wanted to be accepted by these idiots. She just wanted to be part of the in crowd, the popular crowd. Yeah. And while I did get very mad at her for how she reacted to her friend when her friend has done nothing but good and kind to her, that's exactly how a 13-year-old who's incredibly hormonal, just learning, especially a girl, just learning how life works. That's exactly how she would react.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I watched it with, we're not Jewish, but I watched it with Elena,
my daughter,
who's 12. And like, we were still able to really relate to like a lot of the things in there. Like, I would say like the one moment stood out to me was like the mom with the shoes, how they were going to wear the matching heels, like, whatever. And of course, the last minute, like mom like knew like, we're going to need like the tennis shoes because there's no way like you're going to be able to walk in those shoes. And just things like that, how like the girl was not willing to listen to mom at all because why would mom know what she's talking about? Like she's old or whatever.
It's not like she's ever been 13 years old.
Right. And so, but I mean, like we found ourselves laughing quite a bit at how like it was just, not just, I know obviously, but not just the young Jewish girl, but just the young girl who's just like learning to experience life and go through these
Yeah.
changes. We had some fun watching that.
And finding out what the value is. And I love that they put that in there. And like, I watched this with my 13-year-old, and she had this on her, this is still on her top 3 favorite movies right now, is this movie.
Yeah.
Because she did relate to the girl. But for me, like, I'm very into my faith. I'm very into my Christian faith. And I was able to appreciate how important this is, how grounded this is, how much their faith integrates into their everyday life. And I didn't, because I've never gone to Hebrew school.
Right.
I know that you did, right? Eve, you went to Hebrew school. And so I didn't realize how much they were immersed into their faith, going from regular school and then going to Hebrew school right after that. For that, like, I didn't know that it was that intensive. I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I agree. I remember, I feel like I learned like a lot watching it too. I was like,
yes,
oh, okay, like that's cool. Like, I didn't know that, you know.
And it makes you feel better that you said it was very typical of the Jewish reform, because sometimes you can watch some of these movies and you're like, is that really how it is though? And if it's, I feel better because I did feel like I learned a lot, but part of me was trying to like temper that with, oh, but it's a movie. So I don't know.
I remember my my best friend watched it, and she texted me. She was like, I just saw the movie. You're so not invited to my bat mitzvah. Am I allowed to love this movie? And I was like, if you're asking if it's offensive, it's not. And yes, you're allowed to love this movie.
I liked the teacher. I didn't know what to think about the teacher at first. But then I suppose it's because Hebrew school is, it's not
Rabbi Rebecca.
Yes.
She was very typical of, she reminded me a lot too of our like associate rabbi, like not like the head rabbi, but like kind of like under him. That makes sense. But she reminded me a lot of the associate rabbi who was there when I was in high school. I remember at, it was a youth group trip, associated with our temple. And, we're at our, youth group coordinator, whatever her job title was, we're at her lake house. Our rabbi is sitting there teaching us how to bet in poker. And I wasn't interested in it, so I was kind of just hanging out. And I remember like the parent chaperones who were there looked at each other and they were like, I can't believe Rabbi is teaching our kids how to gamble. Like, should we jump in? Like, are we supposed to stop this? Are we amused? Do we just see like what happens?
See where this goes.
I mean, she was really cool. So she reminded me a lot of him. I was like, this is how, young hip rabbis are. Except I do feel she was a bit over the top. I was using the teen lingo. It's just not, it just sounds weird when you do it. So just don't do it.
And what I like about that though is that's a typical teacher trope that they put in comedy movies, is the teachers trying so hard to relate to the students that they end up looking silly or goofy. Like the songs that she would make up were like, it's not appropriate though. It's some of that are appropriate. And so, I mean, the way she would talk, but that also, it normalized this faith. It normalized this Hebrew school. It normalized these kids going there because you're like, oh, I guess, some teachers do act insane in order to be cool with the kids and cool with whatever. But she was still a teacher. I like that too. Like when I can't remember any of the characters' names. Sunny, is she the younger or older girl?
Sunny is the
older. Yeah, I think so. The girl who was in Hebrew school, Adam Sandler's daughter who was in Hebrew school, she went off with the cool boy, the cute boy, into like a closet, and the teacher found him there, and she was like, not cool at all. Like, so she was still invested in the students, and she was still invested in what they did and morality, but she still tried to reach them by being hip and fun. And so I thought that brought in the comedy to it. So it was very lighthearted in that aspect, where it did normalize. It made me see the faith as, well, this isn't very different. I mean, it's still something they have faith in. It's my kids go to youth group, or my older kids go to youth group. And that's part of a requirement in our household is, we go to church on Sundays, we go to youth group on Wednesdays. It's part of our lifestyle. And it was nice to see another faith group go through with that, and to see how they worked it out. And I think that the party, I mean, I used to watch, I'm not saying this is the same thing, but I used to watch long before I had kids that it was on TLC. It was something about gypsies. And they're
I love that
I know
show.
what you're talking. I know what you're talking about. The gypsy wedding
Yeah.
show.
But it was
I
like when they
met-
were 16 and they had like these big parties.
I met one of the girls that were on that show. Like,
Oh, you
one
did?
time. She was in a Target on Black Friday. Yeah, like I know. It's how I
Wait,
even
is
found
that
out about
Gypsy
this show.
Wedding? Is that what it is? Is
Yes,
that
my
That's
big
one of
fat
them,
gypsy
yeah.
wedding. Yeah, yeah.
But it was, and there was also like My Super Sweet 16 was on MTV when I was in high school, and then there was the Quinceañera show that was on there. It's just like this beautiful coming of age thing where everything has to be bigger and better than the last. So I thought I really liked watching that aspect with my kid. I think I liked it more because I watched it with my 13-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I liked it fine on my own, but I think that's why I liked it so much is because I watched it with my daughter. And she really could relate to the social aspect of it. And so she really liked that. I think my one complaint, it's not really a complaint per se about the movie. It's, I wanted to smack that girl for how she treated her friend. But that was the point. She was supposed to do that. So it's not like a complaint against the movie. It's
That's
just like
what a 13-year-old. That's how a 13-year-old is supposed to act.
Exactly. So that's my one complaint. It's not really a complaint. That's how the story was supposed to go because it's trying to prove a point.
My complaint, and I remember complaining about this with my mom and the kid. That boy that everyone was obsessed with.
Yes.
I don't. What was his name?
I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yes. The cute boy with the cute curls.
I was like, he is just such an idiot. Why is everyone so in love with this moron? And my mom looked at me and she said, Eve, do you remember the speech I gave you when you were a teenager about how boys are stupid? I was like, I know, but he's just such a moron. Why do they love him?
It's true. And honestly, he wasn't that cute, but
And they were making out in front of the Torah.
His name was Andy Goldfarb.
Andy Goldfarb. What a Jewish name. Oh my God.
And the fact that I guess that was another thing, is that this friend Lydia moved on so quick to him, even though it was just, just happened. But I thought that I didn't like watching the awful video go through on her friend. But even that is her mom put that through. Stacy wasn't going to do it.
And poor Adina Menzel was like, oh yeah, I did you a favor. You're welcome. I'm like, oh no, that was not helpful. I know you didn't know, but that's not helpful.
No, that was awful. So I think I would rate the movie in A because it's a very family friendly movie. My kid watched it multiple times. I think she watched it. She was watching it without me. And I was like, hey, we were supposed to watch that together. And so she rewound it to the beginning and we watched it together. And then she's watched it like 17 times after that. So for the sheer fact that it's safe for my kids to watch, that we learn something from it, that it's good, it's lighthearted, but it also has some drama to it and it's fun, I would give it an A. What about you guys?
I mean, for me, I guess B plus. I mean, I liked it a lot. And a lot of this will be said, like, I don't watch movies very often. I'm a TV gal. And so will I rewatch it? Probably not, because I just don't really rewatch movies. That's why it's just a B plus. Like, it takes a lot for me to be like, I'm going to rewatch this movie over and over again. But it was great. I have no complaints about it. Like, I don't, so B plus. I
didn't even ask you if you had complaints. I just assumed nobody had.
Yeah, I don't have any. So I thought it was good.
If I have any specific complaints other than, it's not really a complaint, but it's just wouldn't it have been cool if his wife could have played his wife?
Yeah.
But I think I think she's been in several of his before, and she never plays his wife. So I wonder if that's just a choice that they don't ever want to play, like that they don't ever want to like co-star ever in that way.
I think so.
That I could respect. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an A plus. I watched it twice and I'm gonna watch it several more times, I bet.
A plus. Okay, good. Shoot, that's right. She was in the Outlaws. Jackie Sandler was in the Outlaws. Okay. She played that baker, remember? Eve, did you watch that movie with us? Because this is one that we reviewed. I didn't finish this one because it was just I don't think I finished it.
I didn't.
She was the baker? Okay. Okay. I remember her.
Very flighty, insane.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, she was in Murder Mystery too. That's Adam Sandler's movie.
I haven't watched that. I should.
It's good. Good. I wouldn't say it's good. She's in a ton of his stuff, which makes sense. I mean, but this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first one that his whole family was in with him, right?
I think so.
As far as I know, I don't. I don't remember. I remember I looked up his daughters to see if they've been in anything else, but like as we're speaking, I don't remember what, if anything else, they've been in.
Okay.
So this might be the first big thing that the youngest daughter at least has been in.
Yeah. The younger daughter is Sunny. Sadie is the older, and it's Ronnie and Stacey Feldman in the movie. But I thought it was great. Do you have any other complaints or favorite things you want to say that are favorites about it?
Yeah, just very nostalgic. Loved it. I loved everything about it.
Mm-hmm. It was I just thought it was so good. I thought it was funny. I thought it was it felt very, I don't know how, because I'm not Jewish. But it felt somehow nostalgic to me of what it was like growing up with my parents wanting the cool things. And I'm sure Jeanette can relate to this. That slideshow that she put up for her, for what her wants for bar mitzvah, like, feels like every holiday in my house. Like, my oldest daughter wants more and bigger and better and more expensive things. It's like, oh my gosh! And I connected with Adam Sandler in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think check this movie out, especially if you have kids. It's a great movie for families. It's a great fun family movie. And the only reason Jeanette gave a B is, like she said, she doesn't watch movies. So if she was a movie watcher, it would be an A. Or if it was a show, this could be a great show. I think they should take this idea and turn it into a show.
I probably would watch it more if it was a show. Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you don't want to do a bat mitzvah week after week after week, but I mean, just the dynamic of the Hebrew school. Because I mean, I love My Big Fat Greek Wedding movies, and they go to Greek school. And they learn the Greek. Like, I think there's something fascinating about that culture where they're learning all this stuff. And I think that would make a great TV show, actually. So Adam Sandler, if your kids want more work, please suggest this to them and create something like that. Because I like Adam Sandler's tone. It's very, and I think part of the reason it was so family friendly is because he did it with his kids. It was a family movie because literally his family is in it.
Yeah.
Oh, his kids were in Grown Ups with him.
Oh, I remember reading that somewhere. Yeah.
His kids in.
Did they? Because he had a son in Grown Ups, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember if he had daughters too. It's been a long time.
I looked up I'm on Sunny Sandler, who is the younger one. She played Tardio's daughter in Grown Ups. She was in Jack and Jill with him. She was, but tiny, like lemonade stand kid, additional voices in Hotel Transylvania. So stuff like that.
This might be her first, or at least one of her first major roles.
Yeah. Don't forget to check out our Netflix group. It's Netflix Family Fan Club. Let us know what you thought of these movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you thought of these movies, what you think. If you agree with us, disagree with us, let us know. And don't forget that next week you can check out our holiday streaming coming up on Christmas Eve. On New Year's Eve, we've got the last of, well, not the last, but it's One Tree Hill season 7 and 8 review. That's coming up. Check those out, and we will see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.